Hello and welcome back to the Not the Old Firm YouTube channel. My name is Ben Banks, here to look ahead to the Scottish Premiership weekend fixtures over 16th of January and 17th of January. Obviously, we've only got the Premiership and Championship football to focus on across our website socials this week due to the suspension of the lower leagues. So do check out our website for all that and our Twitter for all your latest interviews and stuff and that when that all goes online. In terms of this video, we'll be looking ahead to the Premiership action as always, hearing from managers and new signings along the way. And we've actually been fairly quiet in the build-up to this in terms of dramatic talking points and stuff like that. So hopefully for the sake of our football teams in this country, that remains the case between this getting uploaded and 3 p.m. on the Saturday, so it doesn't outdate terribly. But nevertheless, we'll look ahead to the fixtures: Celtic v Livingston, Hamilton, Dundee United, Hibs, Kilmarnock, Ross County, Aberdeen, and St Johnstone, St Mirren are the fixtures on the Saturday before Mull take on Rangers. I'm pleased to say we'll be at 5 of those fixtures, obviously not at Celtic Park, but every other game you will have covered here by us on Not the Old Firm. So do check out our website, Twitter, and on here as well for your review once that is all completed. We'll go through these games then. Celtic Livingston first. Now, weird sense, despite the financial gaps, the size and club that Livingston and Celtic have between them, this tie is looking on paper like a very close one. Livingston have won 8 at the bounce. Their midweek game, which I was at, sort of, against Aberdeen, was postponed due to a waterlogged pitch. If I can give you a sort of insight into what it was like there when I arrived at 6:30, it was wet, but not what it was like at 7:45 when there was puddles on the park and it was doing its best SeaWorld impression. Not the fault of Livingston's, to be fair. I think their drainage system was obviously suffering from the effects of the cold weather and stuff, which nobody can help. I've seen a lot of criticism of their all-weather park. It seems to be getting branded all-weather park. It is. Livingston have been clear in saying it has been an artificial pitch. But nevertheless, gives them a free week to prepare. For Celtic, they've got a double header against them on the Saturday, then on the Wednesday before they take on St Mirren in the League Cup as the fixtures just seem to pile up for them. The game against Aberdeen now scheduled in for weekend January 30th. Ahead of the trip to Parkhead, we heard from Derek Martindale, speaking just shortly after the game against Aberdeen was postponed, quickly turning his attentions to the job at Celtic Park, who are still depleted due to their COVID problems. They'll be playing a weaker Celtic side than they normally would be just now, but even with that depleted side, Derek Martindale still expecting a tough test.
I mean, how does it change your build-up at all, or does it?
Doesn't really change your build-up, just probably means I can get a wee bit more intensity into the players tomorrow, whereas tomorrow would have been a recovery session. I think we can only go out and be. I was looking at the squad that played Hibs, and I'm looking around the team and I'm probably positively valuing the players in the park at around £60 million. You've still got like an abundance of talent on that field. £60 million, that could run my club for 60 years. So it's they've got a big squad for a reason. They've got a fantastic squad. So I'm looking at the squad that played against Hibs and I'm going, it's still a very good Celtic team. Yeah, it's a diminished Celtic team, but I can't really do anything about it.
Hamilton versus Dundee United is the other match. Sort of, when you look at this fixture, perhaps slightly closer. Hamilton picking up points against Dundee United at home earlier in the season due to Hakeem Adolphin's strike, who's been one of their better players, of course, this season. Dundee United getting contract news sorted this week. Nicky Clark signing a new deal there, which is a big boost for them. Dundee again looking to poach one of their key assets. Paul McMullen already going to swap opposite side of the street down in Dundee, and Dundee made a really ambitious approach for Nicky Clark, who is Dundee United's top scorer. They've been some coup if they manage to get a top scorer from a top 6 as it stands Premiership club, but he will remain at Tannadice. And for Brian Rice, he'll have a couple more bodies back this weekend. They've obviously been ravaged with injury, COVID problems here and there as well. So, and as well as that, they did lose out on a couple of signings to teams down south due to the pandemic and lockdown and the different after effects that's had. So it's been tough for Accies in the last few weeks, but at home against a side that they have already taken points from this season, they'll be looking for a positive result in this one. Not a lot to separate the bottom 4. St Johnstone, Hamilton, Motherwell, Ross County, all separated by just a few points. So interesting one this, if Hamilton can get a result in this, and with the pending appeal, Kilmarnock and St Mirren's appeals for their COVID-19 breaches was heard on Thursday. A verdict on that due early next week. That'll determine whether they move up further up the table or not. If they win on Saturday and they then get the 3 points added on again early next week, that could see them potentially at the end of this weekend go above St Mirren points-wise, and St Mirren currently sitting 8th just now. So the bottom six could look very different depending on the results this weekend, but perhaps more tellingly, the pending appeal for Kilmarnock and St Mirren, which was heard at 6 o'clock on Thursday. Make of that what you will. Other fixtures on the Saturday: Hibs versus Kilmarnock. Hibs obviously are looking to put the Celtic furore from earlier in the week behind them. Just a completely bonkers fixture. Probably one of the more controversial ones in my time covering Scottish football. But they can look ahead to perhaps a tamer fixture against Kilmarnock, but nevertheless an equally important fixture. Good, decent point under the circumstances at Parkhead on Monday, but they've not won in 4 games now. And with Livingston slowly creeping up behind them, perhaps just getting 3 points starts to ease any potential Livingston catching up on them, who have made significant ground in recent weeks on 3rd and 4th place Aberdeen and Hibs. Ahead of this game, we heard from Jack Ross and Lewis Stevenson. It's been a massive week for the Hibs legend. 2 cups at Hibs, over 500 appearances now. He hit the 500 mark on Monday against Celtic. Jack Ross paying tribute to his stalwart defender.
Well, I think it's. I think Lewis would. I think he wanted to know this. It's not for sentiment. It's for football. Because he's still contributing on the pitch and around the training ground on a daily basis. So his attitude to work remains as diligent as it's always been. And I think he's enjoying his football at the moment. If anything, having that competition to play at left back, but also from a young player that's came through our youth system, is encouraging for him. I think he's enjoying that competing with Josh to play, but also mentoring and helping him with his development as well. So the reason to offer him a new contract was based on football, and actually delighted that he chose to accept it. And on the back of which has obviously been an incredible week for him in achieving that milestone. I think that sometimes I've had conversations with him about sometimes he is such a conscientious person, and so and I think I've spoken in the lead up to making his 500th appearance that how people describe him is exactly how everybody else would find him, and I do think at times he maybe should have that greater degree of confidence or air of confidence about him, given what he's achieved in his career and what he's achieved for this club in terms of and winning the League Cup and the Scottish Cup. But I don't think he's ever going to change.
Yeah, I've obviously settled here, been here a while, and it would seem so alien to me. But no, you still have that doubt in your head, especially not been playing as much as maybe in previous seasons this season. But like the manager said, when I've played and I've been helping the team out, I've done well. So, he said I ended right for another contract in another year, so I'm delighted to do so. To take the romantic side of it, I think Hibs have been a good fit for me, and I've been a good fit for Hibs. It's probably been both ways have probably been good value for money, and look, I've enjoyed it here, and there's maybe been times where I could have maybe took a sideways move or took a gamble somewhere, but I love it here. I love what the club stands for. I love the people involved in the club, and it would seem strange for me to move now. The club means everything for me. I've spent more than half my life involved at Hibs at youth team and here, so there's never been an offer that's kind of wanted to prize me away too much. And look, the club's probably showed loyalty to me when I've not been playing well, and I think I've showed loyalty to the club, so it's been a good match for everyone, I think. It's strange, but I don't know, football's changed a lot. I don't think, even with me and Paul going to win another couple of cups, I still don't think we'll be revered in that kind of manner. I don't know, football's changed nowadays, and I don't know. I see the names I'm up there with appearance-wise, and to be in the same kind of bracket as them is unbelievable. I still don't get that feeling that it will be that kind of status, if you know.
Ross County Aberdeen up in the Highlands. John Hughes' side are going to continue sticking or twisting by the sounds of speaking to him. They lost 3-1 to Livingston last weekend. They maybe could have sat in for a point. Livingston far from at their best, but John Hughes decided a point wasn't going to be enough. It was either going to be 3 or 0 points for them, and he went for it. Didn't work out for him. They lost 3-1, but it shows the sort of intent he has for this Ross County side. He's not content with just grinding out results. He wants to get the 3 points in every single match. But against Aberdeen, who are third in the league and will be favourites in this one, that won't be an easy test, especially with Aberdeen now having had a full week to rest for this game. Albeit they did still have to make the journey down to Livingston for that before Stephen McLean, rightly, Derek McInnes saying, calling that game off. And perhaps some sad news for Aberdeen fans this weekend. Thomas Cherny retiring from the game, much loved by Hamilton and Partick Thistle, bit of a cult hero at both of those, as well as a very solid Premiership goalkeeper over the sort of last 10 years. And while he never played all that many games at Aberdeen, only a few, most notably the 2 games at Easter Road, well loved by the Aberdeen faithful, and by the sounds of it, he's going to be staying in the North East to pursue a teaching career. So we wish him all the best with that. A shame that it sort of ended without any fans in the stadium and with a knee injury and things like that. I'm sure Aberdeen fans, when we're all allowed to return to stadiums, whenever that is, Thomas Cherny will be added to the list of many things to sort of pay tribute to in the stadium. But I doubt he'll be a stranger to Pittodrie. Anyway, we heard from John Hughes and Derek McInnes ahead of this one. John Hughes saying every game's like a cup final just now for the Staggies, and Derek McInnes explaining a bit more about why Wednesday's fixture was called off.
100%. Every game final is a cup final for us. You know, that old cliche, but we still have to go in and express ourselves. We can't go out and play. And I understand that, and I've been there as a player, you know, it's the freedom to go and play. And when we do it, and what I'm seeing on the training pitch, you're going, yeah, good. So it's just a matter of bringing that to every game on a Saturday.
I think I was surprised that we're standing here when I first were travelling down, that there was no thoughts that the game was ever in doubt. I think this has kind of caught us out. Obviously, when my staff were out to set up for the warm-up, they first expressed concerns about the water on the pitch, and it was only then it started to become a factor. Having seen it myself in the warm-up when I come out to do press, I can understand that. You know, it looks dangerous. It is dangerous. The amount of water on the pitch is unusual. I think it's caught us out, to be honest. There's no blame to Livingston here. I think the only debate there was whether we had. I think we all agreed that the pitch was unsafe, and it was whether we started the game or delayed the game, but with the forecast, I think it's to remain like this all night. So the pitch isn't going to get any better. You can even see it now. I mean, it's hard, even when you're walking across it, it's far easier to see the puddles on it. I mean, for the side here, and once the groundsmen were sweeping off the water, once the game starts, they obviously can't do that. So it's just going to get worse. It's a real frustration that we came all the way down again for the second time. But there's no blame attached to Livingston here. I think we've just been caught out, because at no point, as I say, in the day, even just arriving at the stadium, did we think ever the game was there any doubt about it? That was what we discussed. I think the referee, quite cleverly, in my opinion, has been round the players, senior players that he's obviously known for a long time. A few in my team, and I think a few in the Livingston team, and he asked their opinion. Obviously, managers can influence these kind of things, and I think we're all keen to get the game moving. But I think the players expressed concerns. The referee asked the players, I think, if they thought the pitch was unsafe and dangerous, and I think the consensus from all the players was, and he's right with that.
And finally, St Johnstone v St Mirren rounds off our Saturday. We heard from Jim Goodwin ahead of this one, and new Buddies striker Collin Quaner. Jim Goodwin obviously looking up the table now, and he wants his side to start believing in the top 6 rather than looking over their shoulder. And he's added a new striker in the last week as well, Collin Quaner, perhaps coming into this side for the game against St Johnstone. Jim Goodwin's been taken aback by just how fit he is, considering that he hasn't played football for a wee while. It should be noted that he has been training at Bundesliga club Schalke for the last couple of months, which obviously great experience for him back in his native Germany. But now he is here at St Mirren, and he seems very keen to get going, as he explains why he became such a cult hero at his last club, Huddersfield.
Absolutely. I think there's great examples of, clubs similar to ourselves who have done it in recent years. Kilmarnock, okay, some people could argue Kilmarnock are a slightly bigger club than ourselves, but I wouldn't say there's a great deal between us. And under Steve Clarke, they had, top 4 finishes for a couple of seasons in a row. Motherwell last year, again, I don't think there's a great deal between us. Those two teams probably have a slightly bigger budget than what we have, but at the same time, when I look at the two squads on paper, I think we should be trying to do similar to what Motherwell done last year. And obviously Livingston, I think Livingston finished 5th last year, if I'm right in saying, and look like achieving that again this season. So there's great examples of clubs of a similar size and similar budget to ourselves who are overachieving, and that's what we need to be doing. And that's what I think every club should be trying to do every season is, not use the budget as an excuse. Not, if we've got the 10th biggest budget in the league, let's not be satisfied with finishing 10th. Good managers, good teams always overachieve, and that's what we're trying to do. We overachieved last year by finishing 8th because we didn't have the 8th biggest budget in the league, and I think that's an overachievement. And that's what we're trying to do every year. We want to go far in the cups, which is what we've done in the League Cup. And we want to, as I keep saying, we want to force our way into that top half of the table. And I think there's a great opportunity for probably half a dozen teams to try and get that 5th and 6th spot. I think the top 4 are taken care of. I think Aberdeen and Hibs will fight it out for 3rd and 4th. But again, if you want to talk about budgets, then that's where those two clubs are at. Aberdeen have got the 3rd biggest, Hibs have got the 4th biggest. The rest of us, I think, are capable of getting that 5th and 6th spot. And that's what I want my players to be thinking of.
Hello, I'm good. I think I'm also settling in quite well. Also, I must say, the lads made it quite easy for me. The club made it quite easy for me, so I'm settling in quite well. Yeah, good. It's been really good. Some good fun, some good football. Obviously today, pitch was quite full of snow, but it was all right. We made the best out of it. I think we had a really good week, and I'm just happy to be around the team again. Yeah, exactly. I was keeping fit in Germany. Obviously, the recent months, was also a bit of a challenge. It was exciting because I was basically back and forth between the UK and Germany because I've still had my base in Leeds. But as I said, I feel quite well. I've been lucky to be able to train with the team recently, so which obviously also makes it easier for me now to get back straight at it. Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, we had a brilliant time at Huddersfield. It was a great time with the promotion and the Premier League, and I think it's especially because Huddersfield is it's also the club is like a small family, so it's really fans related as well, and the connection to the fans has always been brilliant. And the time where fans were still allowed in the stadium, the atmosphere was always great, and I think the fans could see that every one of us in the team were really giving everything, giving our all on the pitch, and that's I think also why they appreciated our effort. And yeah, as I said, I've always been very grateful for playing for Huddersfield and the connection with the fans and the love they gave me. They gave me a lot of love, I must say. Usually, I think that's referred to the semi-final when we played Sheffield Wednesday away, and we were 1-0 down, and then I came on and basically with a very nice through ball from Easy Brown back at the time, and basically forced the equalizer, and then at the end we won in the penalty shootout. So I think that's the situation all the Huddersfield fans remember the most.
Then to round off the weekend, it's Mull versus Rangers in the 12 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. Graham Alexander's second game in charge, but it doesn't really get much harder than this. Rangers rampant at the top of the league just now. I don't think clubs, especially Graham Alexander, I spoke to him a few times in the last week, doesn't sound like the type of guy who will just be content with just a 2-0 defeat or trying to grind out a draw or that. He'll be going to try and win this one. And he's strengthened his squad again before making his first signing as Mull manager. And it's a familiar face to Well fans. Stephen Lawless as Mull turned into Livingston FC. Seemingly that's now potentially, I mean, if Mull really wanted to, they could field 6 former Livingston players in their starting 11 on Sunday, sorry. So another one, but perhaps more notably for Mull fans, even though Stephen Lawless perhaps had his best season at Premiership level with Livingston last season before moving on to Burton Albion, where it just hasn't quite worked for him. Moving back up here for family reasons, he ended up at Mull, where he started his career with. He was a youth academy product at Fir Park, came in at the age of 10. Perhaps didn't quite work for him first time out. He did make a handful of appearances in the Stuart McCall era in particular, but didn't really work out for him. He moved on to pastures new, made a name for himself at Partick Thistle, thrived at Livingston, and is now back at Mull, where it all started after a short venture down south. He's looking forward to getting going at Fir Park, whereas Graham Alexander is fully focused on the task at hand against Rangers this week.
So I've got a lot of connections at the club. Spent so many years here as a youth, so it's a big pull on me. Delighted to be back and hopefully help the boys push up the table. There's been contact with the club for a few months actually. Like even last season, there was a bit of interest there, but never seemed to materialise. But then it kind of happened quite quick over the last 10 days or something like that, and then just glad it got done, and I'm here now. No, sometimes that happens. Just the manager when I signed there, just into a new job and that. So listen, these things happen. I've got no regrets for giving it a bash. Just sometimes a club doesn't fit in that, so I'm just glad to get back up the road, and I know my family are as well. Yeah, hopefully whenever the gaffer needs me. I've not had a lot of minutes recently, but I've been training every day, never missed a day of training, so I'm fit and ready to go. I know a lot of boys in the squad. It's not a false position because the league table doesn't lie. We need to start picking up points, but I know what the boys have got in them. I know the ability in the group. Sorry, and I know the potential as well. So I'm confident once we get going, we can pull up the table. We've got a good group of boys. Spoke to the manager. I've heard good things about them, and I feel we've got a squad here that could be pushing up the table.
Hectic, really hectic. Lots to do, lots to cover, lots to try and implement and allow everyone else to understand what we're trying to do. I've tried to do things probably quicker than I've done in the past, because obviously the stage of the season really and how many games are left. So usually it's more of a drawn out thing to let it slowly get in there, but I think it's needed to try and do it a bit quicker. So it's been real full days every day, and but everyone's here to, it's not just me and Chris, everyone's here to try and support and help us do it. So but it's been full on, yeah. But we don't want to give them any favours by giving them a little bit of a tip off about what we're going to do. I think they're strong enough already. But no, look, we don't want to go away from what we do. We have probably, I would say, 80-85% of our game will be week in, week out, and then you're adapting the 10-15% to the opponent you're playing. Not just on stopping them, but actually where we can probably try to expose anything that we feel we can at any given moment. That's against any opponent, and that's the same for this game. So it's that, like I said, I think for me, we're trying to implement how we want our team to play regardless of the opponent. We know it's always going to change week to week because of who you're playing, but that for me is the biggest target that I want to see my players as a team, playing as a team, and going out and giving it their best.
Well, that's all we've got time for on this preview. We hope you have enjoyed. Do remember to like this video and subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty of exclusive content coming in the next week, and we'll have build up next week as well. Particularly exciting one for us and Not the Old Firm, with it being the League Cup semi-final weekend and 4 Not the Old Firm teams involved in it. So we'll have plenty of build up to that, as well as obviously coverage of the 2 games. So do keep an eye out for that. As well as that, we'll have exclusive interviews and your usual build up to everything else going on in Scottish football. So the transfer window's still open, so still plenty going on around the country. In terms of its football, we've got an exclusive interview that we do want you to check out with Lyndon Dykes, obviously Scotland striker and QPR star just now. made his big move down there after a fruitful spell at Livingston and before that Queen of the South. So do check that out. Really pleased to have him on. We'll have a couple more really exciting exclusive interviews in the next couple of weeks. A few of them getting recorded next week. So do check those out when they come. But that's all we've got time for in this video. If I haven't mentioned it once, I'll mention it a million times. Do remember to subscribe to the channel. It really does mean a lot for us as we try and grow their video content on Not The Old Firm. Like this video, and until next time, take it easy.